I found the bank statements while my father was 3 floors below me, recovering from a heart attack. I was just looking for his insurance card, being the responsible daughter, like always, when I pulled out a folder that made my hands freeze. March 15th. The day I called them sobbing about my cancer diagnosis. The day the biopsy came back malignant. The day I begged them to come stay with me through surgery. There it was, a $5,000 withdrawal. I flipped through more pages, my heart pounding harder with each one. Another withdrawal. Another. Every single one dated during my chemotherapy. During the months, they said they couldn't afford to visit. Couldn't take time off work. Couldn't be there when I woke up from my mastectomy, completely alone. But here's what made my blood turn to ice. Every check had my sister Jennifer's name on it. Every single one. And the last withdrawal, dated just yesterday, the memo line read, Caribbean cruise deposit, final payment.
$14,000.
For a vacation. While I was fighting cancer alone, they forgot I was dying. But they sure as hell remembered my father's bank account number. And somehow, they'd been using money I'd sent them to fund it all. Let me back up because you need to understand who I was before that moment. I was the easy daughter. The one who moved away for work at 23 and spent the next 25 years apologizing for it. I sent money, called every Sunday, flew home for every holiday, even when I couldn't afford it. When Mom died 4 years ago, I took a month off, unpaid, to help Dad grieve. Jennifer? She showed up for the funeral and left 2 days later. New boyfriend. Too busy. She'd make it up to Dad later. But I was the selfish one for living across the country.
I was always the selfish one.
When I found the lump last February, I was 47 and terrified. The biopsy came back stage 2 breast cancer, aggressive type. Surgery immediately, then months of chemo. I called Dad first, my hands shaking so badly, I could barely hold the phone. I told him I was scared. I needed him. Could he come stay with me through the surgery? Long silence. Then, Jennifer was going through a rough breakup. Money problems. He needed to be there for her. I was strong. I'd always been strong. I'd figure it out. He never came. I went through surgery alone. Woke up in recovery with no one holding my hand except a nurse with kind eyes who thought I was crying from physical pain. I let her think that. The chemo started 3 weeks later. I lost my hair in clumps, vomiting at 2 a.m. with no one there. I set up a bell next to my bed in case I fell and couldn't get up. I ate saltines and told myself people survive this alone all the time. I called Dad every week during treatment. He always sounded distracted. He'd ask how I was in that vague way that meant he didn't want real answers. But he always mentioned Jennifer, another lost job, rent problems, how worried he was. Then one day he called me, stressed. Said he needed help with property taxes. $3,000. I liquidated my emergency fund, the one I needed because I might not be able to work, and wired it within an hour. Jennifer posted her new designer handbag on Instagram the next week. I told myself I was being paranoid. The chemo brain making me bitter. They loved me. They were just busy. I finished my last treatment alone. Drove myself home with hands so weak I could barely grip the steering wheel. I was eating soup from the can when Jennifer called, hysterical. Dad collapsed. Heart attack. Could I come? I was on a plane 6 hours later, my body destroyed from treatment, immune system compromised. But I went, because that's what I did. And that's when I found those bank statements, but the stolen money wasn't even the worst part. Because in that same drawer, I found a document with my forged signature that gave Jennifer control of everything. I drove to Dad's house while Jennifer stayed at the hospital playing the devoted daughter. The house looked different. Expensive throw pillows. New artwork. A massive TV I hadn't seen before. The kitchen had been renovated, granite countertops, professional appliances. This wasn't the house of a man who couldn't afford property taxes. I found his office unlocked. In the desk was a folder labeled estate planning. The will left everything to Jennifer. Everything. The house, savings, life insurance. My name appeared once. To Sarah, I leave my mother's pearl necklace and my gratitude for her independence. A necklace. After a lifetime of showing up. Clip 2, it was a power of attorney form, dated 8 months ago, with my signature, except I never signed it. But there it was, giving Jennifer full control of Dad's finances and medical decisions. She'd forged my signature while I was fighting cancer, and Dad let her. I took photos of everything. Then I found the cruise confirmation. Caribbean vacation. 10 days. Next month. 2 passengers. Jennifer and Dad. $14,000. Paid in full during my chemotherapy. They were celebrating. Together. While I'd been alone wondering why nobody loved me enough to show up. I kept digging. Every time I'd sent Dad money, Jennifer withdrew the same amount days later. The property taxes? Never existed. The roof repair I helped pay for? Never happened. Medical bills? Insurance covered them. They'd been scamming me for years. Then I found a letter from my mother that explained everything and made me realize this betrayal had been planned before she even died. The letter was from Mom, written weeks before she died, hidden in the back of his filing cabinet. My dearest love, I need you to promise me something. Jennifer will struggle when I'm gone. She's never learned to stand on her own. But Sarah will be fine.
She's always been fine.
She doesn't need us the way Jennifer does. When the time comes, make sure Jennifer is taken care of. Sarah can take care of herself. She always has. This was Mom's deathbed wish. Permission to forget me because I was strong enough. I'd spent my whole life proving I didn't need them because needing them never got me anything. And they'd used my independence as proof I deserved abandonment. I took a photo, put everything back, drove to the hospital with a plan forming like Ice Point. 3 days later, Dad was discharged. I called a family meeting. We sat in that renovated living room, Dad in his recliner, Jennifer on the couch, me across from them with a recording device hidden in my purse. I found some documents, I said calmly. I laid everything on the coffee table. Bank statements, forged power of attorney, the will, the cruise booking, Mom's letter. Jennifer went pale.
Dad looked panicked.
That's fraud, I said quietly. The forged signature? That's a felony. Silence. All those withdrawals during my chemo, I continued. While you claimed you couldn't afford to visit. While I was alone, begging for help. But you could afford a $14,000 cruise. Sarah, let me explain. Dad started.
No.
I found Mom's letter too. Her wish that you abandon me because I'm strong enough. Did you know I almost died from an infection after surgery? 6 days alone in the hospital. No one to advocate for me. No one to tell me I'd survive. My voice cracked but stayed steady. I needed you. For the first time in my life, I actually needed you. And you chose her. You always choose her. You've always been independent, Dad tried. Because I had to be. Because needing you got me nothing but disappointment. Jennifer finally spoke. I didn't think you'd find out.
No excuses.
Just admission they were fine hurting me as long as I didn't know. Here's what's happening, I said, pulling out papers. You pay back every dollar Jennifer stole. Revoke that forged power of attorney. Add me back to the will with equal share. Or I go to the police with fraud evidence. You wouldn't, Jennifer whispered. I have nothing left to lose. You made sure of that. Dad was crying. We're family.
No.
Family shows up. Family remembers your cancer diagnosis. Family doesn't treat you like an ATM while you're dying. I stood up. 48 hours. Sign the agreement or I file police reports. I walked out and felt nothing but relief. That weight I'd carried for 47 years, trying to earn their love, trying to matter, just lifted. Gone. They signed. But what happened 6 months later proved some people never change, and sometimes the best revenge is just moving on. Jennifer paid back the money. Dad revised the will. Neither ever apologized. Never called. Never asked about my recovery. The silence should have hurt. Instead, it felt like freedom. I sold Mom's pearl necklace and took myself to Iceland, watched the northern lights, and felt more connected to the universe than I ever had to my family. 6 months later, Jennifer called crying. Dad's health declining. Could I come help? She needed me. I listened to the whole message, then deleted it, blocked her number. Because some people only remember you exist when they need something. They'll forget your pain, but remember your bank PIN. Forget your cancer, but remember how to forge your signature. Forget to show up when you're dying, but remember to call when they need saving. You don't owe them salvation. You don't owe them anything. I'm 52 now. 5 years cancer-free. I built a life with chosen family, friends who showed up during treatment, neighbors who checked on me, a support group that held space for my grief.
People who remembered me.
Who chose me every day. And if you're listening to this because you're fighting your own battle alone, because you've been erased by people who should love you, I see you. Your pain is real. Sometimes the strongest thing we do is stop carrying people who will never carry us back. That's not giving up. That's waking up. I framed Mom's letter. It hangs in my office as a reminder. Their limitations were never my fault. Being strong didn't mean I deserved to be alone. The only approval I ever needed was my own. They forgot my cancer diagnosis. They remembered my bank PIN. And in doing so, they taught me the most valuable lesson. Some people aren't worth remembering back. If you know what it's like to be forgotten by the people who should remember you most, subscribe. If this story of fighting alone hit home, leave a like. Share it with someone who needs to hear they're not the only one. And comment below, have you ever had to stop carrying someone who'd never carry you back?